Hey guys, Chickadee Maine, Deboo.com with a Deboo.com surf forecast update. This forecast update effective around 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday, September 21st, 2016. And guys, we are 11 days removed from the statistical peak of the 2016 Atlantic tropical cyclone season. And sometimes the peak of season, as far as activity is concerned, can come 2 weeks early, can come 2 weeks late, or not come at all, but it appears that we are entering the peak phase of the 2016 Atlantic season over the next couple of weeks, rolling into the first week of October. We'll show you all that in just a few moments. Lots to talk about today. Starts you off with some satellite imagery with the remnants of Julia over here off the Carolina coast. KAR-ULL, which was downgraded to a tropical depression last night and this morning out here to the east, northeast of Puerto Rico. Going to take you around the dial now. We'll move you down here just a little bit, and this will play into when we get into the 06Z of the GFS model run. But I want you to take note of the convection that is fired up over here, down in here, Central America and the northern coast of South America. Spread you out a little bit further. Give me a second. I'll adjust the map. Again, here's TD KAR-ULL. Forecast to become a tropical storm and regain some strength. Guys, the original forecast has always been wait till KAR-ULL got past the 60 line. This is the 60 line in here. This is when intensification is supposed to occur. KAR-ULL's been battling with this upper level low that's been spinning out in front, but you can see that it's kind of closing the gap in here. KAR-ULL is forecast to move off towards the northwest, get north of Puerto Rico, and then head off towards the North Atlantic. Here is Tropical Storm LEE-SUH. LEE-SUH looks to be in better shape than what does KAR-ULL at the moment. And then when we go back and look over Africa, again, we showed you this yesterday in the video update. This is the current image over Africa. LEE-SUH over here to the left portion of your screen, but I want you to notice, look how it appears that there's a straight line running across here, and then another straight line to the underside of LEE-SUH, and then a little dip in here. This is the intertropical convergence zone, guys, and because it's showing us a straight line, no waviness, this gives us the idea that these areas of low pressure are going to slide into the intertropical convergence zone and head towards the Western Caribbean. This type of pattern that is setting up is known to create development over in the Western Caribbean and or Gulf of Mexico. We'll show you that in the latest 06Z GFS model run at the end of the video. Let's jump you over to the swell coming from Tropical Storm KAR-ULL when he was Tropical Storm KAR-ULL. This is the St. Martin's Buoy. St. Martin's Buoy showing 10 feet, 11 seconds out of the east. Jump you over to the South Bermuda Buoy. South Bermuda Buoy picking up Tropical Storm KAR-ULL swell, 6 feet, 12 seconds out of the east-southeast. And the swell has now reached the Paul West Bermuda Buoy, 4 feet, 11 seconds out of the east-southeast. So the swell is coming, guys, but because KAR-ULL has been downgraded to a TD, max seas at the moment are only 16 feet. So we're not expecting a bunch of swell now from KAR-ULL unless he re-intensifies. We'll show you some swell model maps here in just a few moments. Switch you over to some satellite imagery loops. And again, here is the remnants of Julia over the Carolina area here. And locally, last night, within 24 hours into Virginia Beach, they've had over 6 to 10 inches of rain. Now, guys, you've probably heard us say this before. Weak areas of low pressure are known to dump copious amounts of rain. The lesson learned of the 2016 season was what happened to the folks over in Baton Rouge. A weak area of low pressure sat over them for days on end and dumped copious amounts of rain. It does not take a named system to create havoc or financial loss. Switching you out here to a wider loop now of Tropical Storm our TD KAR-ULL, forecast to become a tropical storm again. Once it gets past the 60 line, guys, things can change as it could get into a better environment. Again, look down here towards the Central America and the convection that's firing up there. As we just showed you what's over Africa, as that moves into the region, we'll see the same type of flare-up in convective activity. It's that time of year, guys. Here's the latest 96-hour swell forecast. And as we detailed in yesterday's video update, here's this northeast groundswell now moving past the tip of Greenland in here past Newfoundland. And if we pull the image over a little bit, you'll see how the swell wraps to the northwest here. So we're predominantly getting northerly swell starting to develop in the North Atlantic. Now I'm going to pull this back over because this 13 to 14 second swell period is moving past Newfoundland. So it's not getting blocked. There's a portion of it that's getting blocked by land. But when we start to pull down and start to look at KAR-ULL swell and LEE-SUH swell, give me a second, I'll adjust this. This is 96 hours. This is the last of the KAR-ULL swell in here, 8 to 10 second periods. KAR-ULL's forecast to be in this location, and you can see how the arrows are starting to point out of the north and northwest. This is the start of the northeast wrap. Hopefully, as KAR-ULL intensifies in here to a hurricane, we still got hopes for that. You'll see the southerly. This is the backside of KAR-ULL creating southerly swell. This is LEE-SUH swell. This is coming too. Lots of activity in the Atlantic, guys. And then again, if we pull back over, you'll see that the swell reverts back to a northerly component. Now, this is going to play into a factor of what's going to happen in the model runs. Okay, now when we go back over here, let me take you back up here so you can get an idea of the North Atlantic. Here's an area of low pressure spinning right here. There's a secondary low, and we'll show you this in the model run, that's going to spin out here to the Atlantic. And as it does, there it is right there, 991 millibar low. Look at this northerly fetch. That's that northeast swell that I just showed you in the 96-hour swell forecast map. So it's developing here in the next 12 to 24 hours. Here's KAR-ULL lifting north of Puerto Rico. Here is LEE-SUH back in here still creating swell. We showed you that in the image just a few minutes ago. And as we advance the model run, here's this northerly fetch coming out of the North Atlantic. Here's KAR-ULL starting to pull up. Now again, this is negative swell production here because it's weighted on this side. But watch what happens when high pressure kicks in. High pressure, KAR-ULL moves up, and then high pressure kicks in, starts to develop northerly fetch in here off the backside of this secondary low that's now developing in front of KAR-ULL. Mind you, we still have northeast groundswell coming out of the North Atlantic. Advance the model a few more frames, and look how KAR-ULL gets absorbed into this big 973 tight pressure gradient just to the east of Newfoundland. This is going to get more northeast groundswell going. And then also look at this northwest flow coming off Nova Scotia. Advance the model a little bit more. And guys, we are starting to see the signs of winter. Look at this comma shape that's over the central United States, north central United States. And here's where we get into October. The rule of thumb is you always watch the tail ends of fronts or along stalled or dying fronts for an area of low pressure to develop. Look down here in the Bay of Campeche. There's one. Advance the model a little bit more. And again, we still got good northeast fetch coming out of the North Atlantic. And as we advance the model, high pressure begins to develop into the Atlantic. More northeast flow coming off the backside of this high as it starts to move in. But we start to see the intertropical convergence zone starting to fire up with multiple areas of low pressure. As we advance the model some more for you, look what's going to happen. This is in 2 weeks, guys. This is a long ways out, but the players are on the board. The model continues to show us day after day Now, this is the GFS, one run of many more to come. The Euro is not completely on board yet, however, showing weak low pressure near Hispaniola around the same time frame. As we advance the model a little bit more, look at this deep low that is now developed southeast of Newfoundland. This is going to get some northeast groundswell going again. Look how it just kind of deepens. But look down in here. Here we go with Caribbean development and that pattern setting up, because this area of low pressure, this is essentially the tail end of that front. And look what's developing at the tail end of that front. Long ways out, guys. Still plenty of time to watch, but there are key indications, and we are heading for that time of year where this type of development can occur. That's all we got for you for now, guys. Stay tuned for the next update.